I know I've been pretty mean to you all quarantine, so I will feature you in another week and we will talk about another Gonzaga player, okay? So just sit back and relax and we will just enjoy another healthy session. Welcome back to another week, everyone, where we're still trying to figure out who is the best mid-major player in the NBA currently right now. I hope you are all still staying safe, still staying healthy, and if you have places that are starting to open up right now, please continue to wash those hands and still respect those social distancing rules. Now, actually, a fun fact for you all. In 2009, there was a survey that went out that actually said that Americans wash their hands about 8.9 times per day. And this could actually be fewer in Canada because there was another survey that did go out to Canada that I looked up, and it said that about 9% more Canadians compared to the American percentage do not wash their hands after sneezing or coughing, and actually about 4% more Canadians do not wash their hands before preparing food. Now, why am I talking about Canadian hand washing habits? Well, this was really the best segue I can figure out to talk about our first ever foreign born player, Brandon Clarke. Now, I know that we did talk about Domantas Sabonis last week, who, yes, did play for the Lithuanian national team, did play overseas in Spain for basketball before going to college, but he was actually born in Portland, Oregon because his dad was still playing for the Trailblazers at the time. So this actually means Brandon Clarke, born in Vancouver, Canada, is our first ever foreign born player, eh? However, Clark's time in Canada didn't really last all that long, and when he was 3 years old, his family moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where I couldn't really find that much about his basketball background up until 2015, where he committed to San Jose State University. And yes, we have the Gonzaga hat featured for this video, but we are going to get to that because that's going to be at the very end when he transfers to Gonzaga from San Jose State. But we are going to be talking about his San Jose State years first. And his freshman year didn't really start off all that flashy. He only scored 2 points and had 3 assists against Idaho in only 18 minutes of playing, but he didn't really have all that many flashy stats to talk about for his first month or two of his career, and it didn't really pick up until he hit Mountain West Conference play. And one of the first games that he played in the Mountain West Conference play was against Wyoming, where he got 10 points and 7 rebounds, and then just consistently made 10 plus points per game after that. And in fact, his best game that season was in a 64-61 loss to UNLV, where he did put up 15 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists, and did unfortunately foul out of the game. San Jose State finished last place that year with a 4-14 record in the Mountain West and had a 9-21 overall record. Going into the Mountain West Conference tournament, Brandon Clarke put up 9 points and 5 rebounds in an unfortunate loss to Colorado, which means that they did not qualify for the March Madness tournament. In his freshman year, Brandon Clarke finished off with 8.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, 63.4% shooting from the field, and 1.3 blocks per game, all while getting the sixth man of the year in the Mountain West. And we are going to see this block average just skyrocket as soon as we get to Gonzaga. And until we get to Gonzaga, we still have to talk about Brandon Clarke's sophomore year, where he became a starter for San Jose State, going against West Coast Baptist, where he got 10 points and 4 rebounds. And in his second game that season, he faced off against a future WCC opponent, Portland, where he just had a dominant 28 points, 10 rebound performance, and also getting 5 blocks. And just wait, that number's still going to keep going up and up. During the Mountain West Conference play, Brandon Clarke had a sophomore career high in points with 36 points, gained 5 rebounds, and another 5 blocks against Air Force. And in total in this sophomore year, Brandon Clarke had 6 games with 5 blocks and 2 games with 6 blocks. But let's also not forget that Clarke also had 26 games with 10 plus points, 11 games with 20 plus, and the 1 game of 30 plus against Air Force. Now, this sophomore year did help out San Jose State improve their record just slightly to a 7-11 conference record and a 14-15 overall record, which put them at an 8th place in the Mountain West Conference. And despite putting up 8 points and 13 rebounds against Utah State, San Jose State unfortunately lost in the Mountain West Conference, which also meant that they were not going to qualify for any tournaments. And in this sophomore year, Brandon Clarke nearly doubled all of his stats by putting up 17.5 points per game, 8.9 rebounds per game, and 2.6 blocks per game. And this was at the point where Brandon Clarke became recruited by Gonzaga and decided to transfer over there, which meant he had a red shirt for his 2017-2018 season because of NCAA rules. In his first game of his redshirt junior year, Brandon Clarke put up 15 points and 9 rebounds against Idaho State and then just goes full send on blocks. And I'm not joking about this blocking stat. He had 9 games of 5 blocks, 2 games of 6 blocks, one of which was to Texas Southern, and the other one was to, can you help me out here? Who was it to? It was to Duke, who had Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and some guy named Zion Williamson. And by the way, go watch that game. It is a thing of beauty. It was in the 2018 Maui tournament. Gonzaga was playing against Duke in the championship game. And about 3 minutes and 45 seconds into the game, there is an absolute beautiful play that I will describe to you. Basically what happens is that Zion Williamson is dribbling the ball. He gets past Rui Hachimura, a guy that we'll probably be talking about in a future video, goes for an easy layup, and then Clarke is like, nope! To which Zach Norvell Jr. gets the ball, dribbles it up to the court, misses an easy layup, to which Brandon Clarke just jumps up and slams the ball right in. And by the way, that wasn't the only block Clarke had on Zion Williamson. He actually got 2 that game, so don't forget that. And at the end of this redshirt junior year, Brandon Clarke finished off with 3.2 blocks per game with a total of 117, which meant that he was placed 99th all-time in NCAA for a single season block record since 1985. And to put the stat into perspective, the former Gonzaga single season block record was 70, made by Austin Day in 2008-2009. Brandon Clarke broke that record on January 12th against San Francisco with still 13 games left to play. And his one and only season puts him 6 overall career blocks at Gonzaga University, which actually was 80 shy of the 207 made by Case Calvary, which took him 4 years to make from 1998 to 2001. Wow. If Clarke repeated this performance at Gonzaga, he would have broke the record by 27 blocks in just half the time. And I hope you all can see why Brandon Clarke became the first ever WCC player to win Newcomer of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. And this all helped Gonzaga qualify for the March Madness tournament, where they got a 1 seed in the West, facing off against Fairleigh Dickinson in the first round and ended up winning. And in the second round against 9 seed Baylor, Brandon Clarke became the 3rd player ever in NCAA history to put up 35 points and 5 blocks. The other 2, Shaquille O'Neal and David Robinson. Yes, you heard me. 6'8" Brandon Clarke did what 7'1" Shaq and Robinson did. Wow. And also in this game, Brandon Clarke also set another Gonzaga record with 36 points in a March Madness game, which beat Adam Morrison's previous record set in 2006 by just 1 point. And then Gonzaga goes on to play Florida State, who they lost to the previous year, but this time ends in a victory with Clarke putting up 15 points, 12 rebounds, and another 5 blocks. And then in the Elite Eight, Gonzaga faced off against Texas Tech, where Brandon Clarke did put up 18 points and 12 rebounds, but Gonzaga did fall just short by losing the game 75-69. And in this redshirt junior year, Brandon Clarke nearly matched his performance as his sophomore year at San Jose State, but much tougher opponents with 16.9 points, 8.6 rebounds, and the 3.2 blocks that we just talked about before, all with shooting 68% from the field. And Brandon Clarke declares for draft, where he actually was a big sleeper pick and going 21st overall by the Memphis Grizzlies. Kinda. Not really. I mean, he was drafted by Oklahoma City Thunder, but Oklahoma City Thunder said that they traded that draft pick over to the Grizzlies, so Grizzlies picked him up, but because you can't trade picks quite yet, and they go through about a month later, he was technically in photos of Oklahoma City Thunder, so he was technically drafted by the Thunder, even though they had already traded that draft pick away, but that trade can't go. NBA, what's wrong with you? Why can't he just have been in Memphis stuff? However, this did not stop Brandon Clarke from becoming the 2019 Summer League MVP and had a pretty good season, and really my pick to become 6th man of the year in the NBA up until his injury in February. Thank you, Brandon Clarke, for giving me so many great memories of you in a Gonzaga uniform, especially the fact that you had 2 blocks on Zion Williamson and Maui. But also thank you all for watching this video as well. Please hit like if you like this video. Please hit subscribe if you want to know about future videos. And also leave a comment down below. Maybe I've missed someone so far. I do have some more names that we need to go through. So leave a comment if you want me to talk about someone in a future video. But until next time, please continue to keep washing those hands, soap and water, and please stay safe and stay healthy.